All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into Marie Kondo's Spark Joy. You've probably heard of her first book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, right? This is the follow-up. And it's built on a pretty wild promise that tidying isn't just about cleaning your house. It's about completely changing your life. So how does that even work?
Kondo kicks things off with this huge, bold statement. Life truly begins only after you have put your house in order. Wow. So you can see right away, this is not just about being neat. This is about a whole new beginning. And yeah, it might sound like a bit of an exaggeration, but this quote, it's the key. It tells you that the KonMari method is really this deep personal journey of self-discovery that's just cleverly disguised as a tidying project.
Okay, so let's get into the why. How in the world does organizing your sock drawer lead to some kind of epic life transformation? Well, it all starts with completely reframing what tidying even means.
And this is the first absolutely crucial mindset shift. We're not talking about that endless, soul-crushing cycle of cleaning up a little bit here, a little bit there, every single day. No. Kondo frames this as a special, once-in-a-lifetime event. She calls it a tidying festival. Think of it like a marathon. This one simple change completely flips it from a boring chore into this big, transformative project that you commit to, you finish, and this is the best part, you get to enjoy the benefits pretty much forever.
Right. So, if it's a festival, what exactly are we celebrating? That question brings us right to the heart of it all, the what behind the KonMari method, which is where things get really revolutionary.
This is where Kondo does this amazing psychological judo flip. See, most of us, we look at a pile of clutter and our brain immediately goes to, what can I get rid of? It's a totally negative, draining way to think. She flips that completely on its head. The question isn't what to discard, it's what do I want to keep in my life? It's a huge difference. You're actively choosing joy instead of just passively getting rid of junk.
And that whole selection process, it all hinges on our most famous and maybe most misunderstood idea. Does it spark joy? Now, this isn't just some vague, happy thought. Kondo is super clear about this. She says it's an actual physical sensation. You know, like a little thrill, a feeling of lightness, like the cells in your body are kind of rising up. The key is to hold the item and really pay attention to how your body reacts, instead of letting your brain get all tangled up in what-ifs and well-maybes.
Okay, I can hear you now. But what about the practical stuff? This is the #1 question people have. My screwdriver doesn't give me a little thrill. My winter underwear definitely doesn't spark joy. So what? Are you supposed to just toss everything you actually need?
Well, Kondo's answer here is actually pretty brilliant, and it shows you how deep this philosophy goes. It's all about gratitude. You just have to reframe how you look at it. So no, the screwdriver itself might not spark joy, but its function, the things it does for you, the pictures it helps you hang, that makes your life better. And when you stop and appreciate its role, you're essentially turning its usefulness into its own kind of joy. You shower it with praise. So we've got the why and the what. We have the mindset. But for a festival this big, you're gonna need a map. And that's where Kondo's 6 basic rules come in. Think of these as the non-negotiable framework for the whole thing. And these 6 rules, they're the pillars of the whole process. They're designed to work together perfectly. First, you have to truly commit and then imagine your ideal life. That's your why, your motivation. Then comes the really practical stuff. You have to finish all the discarding first. And this is key. You tidy by category, not by location. So all the clothes at once, not just the bedroom clothes. This stops you from just shuffling junk from one room to another. And then you follow her specific order, which we'll get to. All of this leads up to the final, most important rule, asking yourself, for every single thing you own, does it spark joy? All right, let's move from the rules on the page to how this actually looks in the real world. Because the how is every bit as important as the why and the what. So here's that order we just talked about. And let me tell you, this sequence is not random at all. It's genius, really. It's basically a workout plan for your joy-spotting muscles. You start with clothes, because for most of us, that's the easiest category to make decisions about. Then you move to books, papers, and kimono, which is just a catch-all for miscellaneous stuff. And you save the hardest for last, sentimental items. Think about it. If you started with old photos, you'd be paralyzed for days and probably just give up, right?
This way, you're a seasoned pro by the time you get to the tough stuff.
And this gets to that rule about tidying by category. She tells you to take every single piece of clothing you own, from every closet, every drawer, every corner of your house, and put it all in one giant pile. I'm telling you, the sheer size of that mountain of clothes is a shock to the system. It's a wake-up call. It forces you to look your own habits, your consumption right in the eye. It makes you realize how you've been treating your stuff. That's a confrontation you just don't get from cleaning out one little drawer.
So what about the clothes you actually decide to keep? Well, now you treat them with respect. And this is where that famous KonMari folding method comes in. It's not just some clever hack to save space. It's more like origami for your t-shirts. By folding them so carefully and storing them standing up, you're giving them space to breathe. It's an act of care. Your drawers suddenly become this beautiful, orderly home for the things you've consciously chosen to bring into your life.
Okay, so you've committed. You've survived the giant mountain of clothes. You sorted and folded. You've completed the tidying festival. What's the big payoff? What's the transformation?
Get this. Kondo makes a pretty audacious claim, a 0% rebound rate. Now, does that mean your house will never be messy again? No, of course not. Life happens. What it does mean is that because you've gone through this massive mindset shift, and because every single thing you own now has a specific home, you just don't go back to that state of, terminal clutter. The system sticks because the change wasn't about your stuff. The change happened inside you. But what's really fascinating, and maybe a little surprising, are the side effects. People who go through this process report that once they clarify their relationship with their possessions, it suddenly becomes easier to clarify their relationships with people. Think about that. When you get really good at deciding what you want in your home, you get better at deciding who you want in your life and what you want those relationships to look like.
And that's the real secret at the bottom of all of this. This whole process. Choosing what sparks joy, defining your ideal life, taking care of what you own. It's not really about tidying. It's an exercise in self-respect. You're building confidence. You're learning to trust your own gut. The ultimate purpose of tidying up, as Kondo says, is that you will learn to like yourself. So after all that, the KonMari method really leaves us with one big and maybe surprisingly tough question. And it's not just about what's in your closet or your drawers. It's about everything you allow into your world. So take a look around. What in your home and in your life truly sparks joy? That's it for this explainer. Thanks for tuning in.